Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today's Tuesday, 24th day of October, 2017. If you are returning, like I say, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome to you. But no matter who you are, let me just say, Happy Tuesday. Huh? Has anybody said that yet? I don't think so. One day chart on the Bitcoin. What do we got? We run up over 6 grand. Now we pull back to 5,700. Gotta say that pretty much every time we get a pullback, it turns into a, oh man. Yeah. What was it, 2 weeks ago? We pulled back to 3,000 something. Not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, just showing you the chart. What's it done for us lately? Nice little run up there. This is a great chart, and it will be on our new site, which will go live. Yeah, on a day ending in Y, really, really soon. True story. All right, I've got a chart of the S&P 500 Emini Futures. There are no weekly trading zones on the chart. Now, some people are going, why is that? I'm going to tell you. I crashed my charting complex yesterday, and my, let's call it a spreadsheet because it sounds fancy. My spreadsheet with the zones for last week, which you would typically see, it's ominously missing. Okay, I don't know if it's corporate espionage. I'm not sure. I don't want to start any conspiracy theories here, but Can't find it. So I guess I'm going to have to use this week's zones. And everybody said. Now, typically partners get the zones Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, every Monday. Before Wall Street wakes up, the zones are carved in stone. They don't change. We don't massage them. We don't manipulate them. They are what they are. Okay? And then typically on Thursday, I reveal them to the community at large. Okay? All right. So we're going to do something a little different this week. Unless I find that paper. Anyway, I said all that to say this. I'll be putting the zones up. If you can't see the chart, though, it won't do you much good. So you need to scurry over to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, there will be a large microphone. Click it, follow the instructions, and within 30 seconds you will be registered for the remainder of the month, and you'll be able to join the show each day, charts and all, with one-click access. Okay? There is another way. youtube.com/CFRN/live. One-click access, just bookmark the page. Now, Michael is holding a webinar this afternoon for all those who are on the trial, new partners. He'll be coming on in just a moment. He'll give you the link to that, and I cannot encourage you enough to go to that meeting. Okay? You will learn things you don't normally see in the morning in the live training room. Okay? All right. You have been warned. Now, what we need to do is we need to take a look real quick at the numbers around the world to see what kind of shape we're in. Then we'll go to Michael, get a recap of the live training room, and then we'll carry on with all the other important things that we got to do today. These are the cash markets. We're starting here in the U.S. The Dow Jones Industrial Average currently up 191 points. NASDAQ up 17.5. S&P 500 up 5. Russell 2000 up a little over 5. Got any movers or shakers? 1. The Dow. It's up almost 1% today. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up 53 cents. That's a little over 1%. And we just traded 52.43 last. Gold down $3.90, trading $12.77 last. In the Asian markets, at the closing bell, the Nikkei was up 108 points, exactly 0.5%. Shanghai was up 7.5 points. And the Hang Seng was down 151 points, which is a little over 1%. And in Europe, the FTSE closed up 2 points. The DAX closed up 10 points, and the CAC closed up 8 points. Needless to say, not a mover nor a shaker in the bunch. Mixed in Asia, barely green in Europe, and I guess rocking and rolling here in the old US of A. That Dow, man, unbelievable. Of course, they're blaming the surge and the all-time new record high. Seems like I say that every day. After Caterpillar and 3M beat the street. In other words, their earnings expectations were better than expected. So that's the deal there. Dollar has snapped its 3-day winning streak. Gold, they're claiming, slips on nerves ahead of Fed chair decision. We'll talk more about that when I come back. But we want to get Michael in and let him take care of what he has to do so that he can go take care of what he has to do. So, Michael, if you're ready.
I am ready.
Did we say bring it on?
There we go. There we go. Should be good now.
I got it. I see it all. Okay, I'll hit mute.
Okay, thanks. Can somebody type something into the message box so I can paste the link for the afternoon meeting in there? Anybody, just type anything in there. Thank you, Eugene. All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 24th day of October, 2017. Let's see. Today, on this very day, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page here at cfrn.net, and this banner is going to pop down at the top of the page. Right there, you see that? It says, sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room, 100% free trial, user indicators, learn our strategy. Click there. And when you click there, it's going to bring you to this page right here. In this page, we ask for your email, your first name, and how you found us. When you hit the submit button, you will be sent a confirmation link. Now, we don't know that you signed up for the trial until you hit that confirmation link. Okay, we don't get a single email or anything like that until you hit that confirmation link. But once you hit the confirmation link, then you'll be sent all the information you need to get into the luxurious 5-day free trial in our live training room. Okay, now recap. We had a red day today, guys. I didn't mark it red yet because it's easier to read when it's not red. Well, for me anyway. But today is the 24th day of October. We made 2 ticks on the euro. We lost 14 on crude, and we lost 8 on gold. So we're minus 207 today. Minus 207. Took 8 trade opportunities to get there. So on the month, we're only at 400. That's our lowest month ever. On the year, though, we're at 27,080. That's over 200 days, averaging 135 a day. Okay, 135 a day, gross. Yeah, lots of color in this month. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, well, anyway, it is what it is, guys. Last month wasn't great, but we had a couple of really good days last month. This month's not over yet. We still have 5 business days left in this month, so we'll see. We'll do what we can, okay? Again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Now, there's a long trade off the BBC right here on gold, right at the moment. Okay. Now, in gold, let's see. We started out at 9 a.m. again today, and this bounced off the BBC in the pre-market. Should have put in a higher swing, but it didn't. So we just let it go, and it came back down, and it gave us a short right here. Now, right there, we had red on the cycle. We had divergence between the green line and the cycle, and we bounced off the BBC. That should have gone down, but it just went sideways for a long time and stopped us out. Then we had a break even on this one and a break even on this one. Since then, it's just got this one long right here during the break. Okay, the euro, we had just the one right here for 2 ticks profit. This right here, in hindsight, it looks like it was a good trade, but it was going right into the high of the day. The high of the day was right here. That's why we didn't do anything with that. Okay. Over here, it was a short right there. It went 4 ticks, but I didn't do anything with it, and it didn't put in a lower swing. During the break, yeah, it looks like, well, I don't know. Let me draw a trend line and see. Yeah, see, there was a long from right in here. That would have been a break even during the break, and that was it on the euro. Now, the pound, though you can see it's got a beautiful downtrend going here. The problem was it was going into the low of the day all morning. This is the low of the day right here. It was going into the low of the day all morning. And the slingshot was not right for the pound. Okay, so we didn't do anything with the pound today. Crude oil. Crude stopped us stopped us out right here. Now, I entered this one tick off, and if I'd entered it at exactly 37, I would have had my stop to break even, and it would have stopped me out of break even right there. This one stopped us out to the tick and then went and did what it should have done. And this was a really long trade. You know, we started 926 and got out at 950. So that seemed like it took forever. But anyway, so we stopped out there and stopped out there. And we had a couple of ticks profit there. Okay, and you see how that chopped sideways forever? And then it tanked. And then, hang on, I want to check something out here. Oh, good. I was just looking at the daily double. The daily double was to buy crude at 52, with a target of 52.25 and a final target of 52.50. So it hit both of those targets. And never looked back, really. So that was $500 right there in a single trade. Anyway, during the break, well, it changed directions here. During the room, it changed directions, and then during the break, there was a long trade there, a long trade there, and that was it for the crude. Now, on the ES was from, now we started at 9 right here, so we had just this at 9, and then the ES came down and pulled back, and looks like it had a short from right in here. Right in here. You could have shorted. And it would have given you a point or so. Changed directions, went right back up to the zone. Now we also looked at the YM this morning, so let me go find that. On the YM, we had one break even right here. But if we look at it on the whole day, because we didn't start looking at it until the spot right here where it said the YM was starting to move. So we started to look at it and we got a break even right there, and then it just started to go sideways. YM's got a short from right in here right now. We're at 400 on the year. We're at 27,080. Okay. Yeah, just a second. Okay, so oops, this one. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at cfrn.net where it says sign up for the live training room, 100% free trial, user indicators on our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you'll be sent to this page. On this page, just fill out the email, first name, how you found us, hit the submit button, and you'll be sent to confirmation link. Okay, you must click that confirmation link. If you don't click confirmation link, we don't know you took the free trial. Okay, you have to click that confirmation link. Right. So you want to see the 6E. This is the 6E. And the gold. The 6p pound, and the Russell. I gotta find that. Here it is. We had a tornado last night, and we lost power for 12 hours, so I had to restart everything this morning. And that's the Russell. All right, and with that, we can pass it back out. Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Okay.
Okay, if you are ready.
Yeah.
All right.
How great is it never going to be, I guess. A little bit of tragic news to I put this on my Facebook page last night, but I'm gonna put it on the. I thought I took the charge back. Try that again. Okay. And yet again. Okay. Now we're there. Okay. I just need to show you guys. We're going to talk to a family friend, my wife's cousin, Edward Korn. He is up in the Sacramento wildfire area, and he's a really nice guy. He takes care of a handicapped woman. He's her caretaker. He lost his house. He lost his car. And this is like a country song. He even lost his dog. Everything gone. And let's see. This might take us to the. Does this take us to the news article? No, I guess it doesn't. But I'm going to put this in the chat box. I don't normally hit you guys up for money or anything. Except when your bills due. And some of you got a bill due. So please take care of that. So Michael doesn't get ugly. You know how he gets. Hey, I lost the chat box, Mike. Can you help me? I don't know how you could help me. I need an X in the chat box, guys. I totally lost it.
Yeah, here. I can put some in there. Oops. Oops.
Yep, there we go. Okay. Now I can grab it. Okay. So I'm going to put this in the chat box. And, you know, as the Lord leads, you know, just, he's a nice guy. He's lived a really quiet life. And we only see him periodically at the occasional family get-together kind of thing. But if you go on to the Google, and I know some of you do from time to time, if you type in Ed, wildfire hero. See if that works. There you go. Top of the pack. There's Ed. God, I remember him when he was so young. My wife and I had just gotten together. I was like 19 or 20. And we went to stay with him and his parents. He was adopted. As a firestorm bore down on his Santa Rosa neighborhood last Sunday, when wildfires erupted across northern California, Ed Korn wasn't sure what would happen next to he and his wheelchair-bound roommate. Korn ended up spending the next 3.5 hours in Coffee Park dodging burning embers while pushing a wheelchair. We moved 20 times to avoid dying in that park, he told Fox News Channel. Korn is a full-time caregiver for his paraplegic roommate Heidi. And as the flames drew close, Korn knew they had little time to get out. Everything burst into flames. All the bushes, all the trees just went cobalt white and 12-foot balls of fire. 59-year-old Korn headed across the street into the park, wrapping Kulik, I think that's his dog, with wet blankets and towels, along with her cat, Missy, who he felt should be safe because the grounds were well watered. Korn kept pushing the wheelchair through the ordeal, and at one point sought refuge behind a tree. That used to be his car. And there are spiritual things here that, you know, we were protected by some stuff, corn toll, KTBU. What we went through, it's pretty heavy. While Corn sustained first and second degree burns to his arm, his roommate made it through the harrowing deal uninjured. Paramedics were able to rescue the pair, but Corn's dog, Gypsy, didn't make it out of the fire. Now, with no car or belongings, Corn is trying to figure out where to go next. This is a very big spiritual time that we all share because none of us are different. We're all the same, he said. We're all the same with our stuff and without it. So, again, I don't hit you up for money often, but he is a friend. And, well, by golly, if you got some spare change in the couch, Ed could use it. And I put the link in the chat box. This is just one of those fundraising type sites. And yeah, they take, you know, like 5% or something. But, and then there's some business about sharing on Facebook. I don't understand all that computer stuff, you know. But, anyway, if anybody ever needed a little digital love, that would be him. All right? All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, I sent him a message, but he may not have a way of receiving it. I told him to call the toll-free number, 866-928-3310. In case you're listening out there somewhere, Ed, 866-928-3310. Bert or Leslie will answer the phone. Ask them to patch you through to the live show. Also, I have a friend who is 70-something years old. He is walking from Phoenix to Yuma, which that's not a day's walk by any stretch. He's walking there. Why? Because his wife kicked him out? No. He's doing it to raise money for the orphanage. So anyone that wants can pledge like $1 a mile or something. I'm not even sure exactly how many miles it is. But we're going to interview him, or I plan to, if he's got a cell phone. He'll call into the show while he's on his march. Okay, miles from Phoenix to Yuma. Now, when he told me he was going to do this, I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "You can drive there in 2 hours and 47 minutes." But he's walking. And I said, "What brought this about?" "It's 185 miles. Okay. And I think he said he walks 10 miles a day now, just for the sport of it. He said he was sitting there saying, "You know, God, I wish I wasn't so old. I wish I had money. I wish there was some way I could do something, some way, somehow, to help the orphanage." He said, and God spoke to me and said, "I've given you good health. You walk every day. Do some kind of a walking thing." And so he picked Yuma. And I don't know if he leaves today or not, but I'm real proud of him. Chuck Probosky, what a great guy. I've known him for, well, since 1997, I guess we met. Just a great old school kind of guy. Yeah, so hopefully you get to hear from him on the telephone. So Michael, I know you probably got to run if you haven't already ran. Recap of the recap. Is this thing on? Hello? Seriously, can you guys hear me? Yes, okay. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. All right, we're going to get familiar with this chart over the coming days because a variation of it is going to be on our new cryptocurrency website. True story. Now, we can't load our CFRN indicators onto it, but we'll still be able to use it to keep track of pricing and whatnot. And it covers a lot of different pairs, not just Bitcoin US dollar. So you'll be seeing lots and lots and lots and lots of that. Okay, on the S&P, I already explained in my dilemma. I crashed. I was in a mentoring session yesterday, and Vicky, I hope you're listening in, and I am so sorry that that happened yesterday during our mentoring session. And we made plans for you to be back today, same time, so I look forward to speaking with you then. And Marlon, I don't know if you're out there, but I just saw an email. You said you haven't been getting your training room invite every day. Did you register this week? So you have to register every Monday morning, and then GoToWebinar actually sends you the reminder each day. So what I need to know is if you did not get the original one on Monday, or if you're not getting the daily one from GoToWebinar. If you're in the audience, please type into the chat. Now below that, we got 2569. $25.69/70. Okay, that's a little unusual right there. I mean, we hung out for a half an hour, well, more than a half an hour, but it's not real consolidation, and it's not really a slice through. Although it did what a slice through should do, is it sliced through, if that's what you want to call it, and then it pulled back to confirm good resistance. It started down, and then, yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge there. Now the zone below that is going to be 2560/61. And we missed it by, see, the low was, come on, the low was 61.50. So we missed it by 2 ticks on the way down, and it looks like we might get another whack at it. So again, I don't typically put the partners weekly trading zones out on a Tuesday. I don't usually share them with the general community until Thursday, so consider it a special treat. And keep in mind that some partners simply trade the zones. They like the indicators, they like the strategy, it's all very nice, but going all the way back to the first time we published the zones, which was December 14th of 2009, and you can go to the old website and see the chart. It's also on Google, I think. But price has done the same thing over and over. I mean, sometimes it does little unusual things, but pretty much after it consolidates in a zone, it either moves to the zone overhead or the zone below. And so that's a 6-point move. Okay, here we got, well, we missed it by 2 ticks. It would have been 8 points, so it was 7.5 down, 7.5 back up. This is the part that's a little wonky here. Once it moves this far, it'll usually get pretty close to the zone. So, not making excuses for it, I'm just telling you that's a little bit out of the ordinary. And when I say out of the ordinary, I just mean based on historical observance and what the zones have done time and time again all these years. Now, if you want to delve deeper, you can, and I'll show you. I've told you, go to Google and type in CFRN weekly trading zones, and you should get a number of articles that I've written over the years. You'll find some videos. I think that's a whole month's recap of bonds. I do believe that is. And other places take notice, like Trader Planet, market closes at highest weekly zone. And then there's you can go to page 2. And you'll find more and more and more and more and more articles, okay, if you have an interest. If you click on images, you'll see charts with zones going way back to the way back. There's that clown. CFRN. Okay, so now you know. Zone to zone to zone. When price hits a zone, the most likely thing that will happen, probably 70% of the time, is consolidation. The market goes there, it rests, and it decides are there more buyers or sellers in the marketplace, and based on that, price moves to the zone overhead or the zone below. Okay. Second most likely thing is rejection. Don't have a real clear-cut case for rejection here. If none of these candles, if this candle had not touched, if it had just come up and did that number, and these candles weren't touching, that would be rejection. That's consolidation. And then the hot knife through butter that we were talking about. That's when price just slices through the zone as if it weren't even there. Yeah, okay, I got nothing. So we've made a leg down. Okay, so we know that this whole area here is so far good support. A move from 2580, 2567, 2564. I like the idea of that. That's a 3-point trade. I would let this candle close. I want, because it could just spend its, the rest of the day bumping its head up against this. So let it show us that it means business. Actually, if you wanted to go 66 to 64, that's 2 points. You could trail your stop. You might get more. It might break through this support and come down to the zone. So that's an idea and an opportunity for a good trade. Potentially good trade. Okie doke. We've covered the numbers, and they're pretty impressive, I gotta say. Let's look at that Dow. How about that Dow? And if you Google, is the Dow a cash cow? I resemble that remark. I don't even know why I wrote that article, because I don't really think of the Dow as a cash cow. But anyway. Where did that line go that we were just looking at? Well, it's gone now. Okay. Moving over. Good gracious. Man. Do I have that up yet? No, I don't. But I will. And I want to show you guys a new website, but it's just not right yet. And that's so wrong. Hang on. Stand by. Stand down. Stand around. Whatever. Just pulling up some files here. Alright. Last night on the Concierge Trade Alerts, when the email went out, we said consider, if you have the opportunity, buying 23,260. Well, how fortuitous it would have been had you done that. Buy 23,260. Now, there's some guy in the audience probably going, how do I know that's what you said? Well, there it is. And it goes out to an awful lot of people, so it's kind of like you can't fib about it on public radio. Consider buying 23,260 if you get the chance. And the chance came. And we're still just pushing higher. This thing went from 260 to 427. I don't know, we'll call it 200 points, give or take. Bear in mind the Dow pays $5 a point. S&P pays $50 a point. There's a 10-to-1 ratio, not only in what they pay, but in how they move. Typically, if the Dow's up 100 points on the day, S&P's up 10. If the S&P is down 10, then the Dow's down 100. Which one's in charge? Who's the big boss? Well, since I started trading Emini Futures in 2005, the S&P 500 has been the bellwether. Ultimately, everybody follows the S&P. But of late, it seems like, you know, the Dow is kind of running the show here. This is quite a move. Now, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So look what happened as we went through 23,260, the trigger. We came back, and we ran, and we got back below it, and we ran, and we got back below it, and then the real move started. That says 4:30, but I think the time on my charts might be off. I've had platform issues of late, but anyway. I could tell you, I suppose. 30-minute candle started at 12:30. Yeah, I guess I am. I guess I do have the time right. 12:30. Yep. Go Dow, go. Okay, I'm back to the S&P. Last night we said to consider buying 25.74. No shot at that. And selling 25.58. No shot at that. So it's a nice movement. Well, we had some movement in the S&P. The patient's alive. But no trigger on the Concierge. Okay. Let's see what's happening in the big wide world of news. Gotta be something happening out there. Getting people excited. little browser's killing me. I just don't get it. Well, in the news again today is the lady we talked about yesterday. Our heart goes out to her, the Army widow. You know, the president says he had a very respectful conversation. Her and her supporters beg to differ. Rex Tillerson made a surprise visit to Afghanistan and Iraq yesterday. The trips, which were his first to either nation as Secretary of State, came as he works on forging a stronger alliance against Iran and implementing the Trump administration's strategy for fighting a resurgent Taliban. Tillerson called on Pakistan to crack down on terrorists hiding within its borders. He also said the Taliban could find a place in Afghanistan's government if they would lay down their arms. There's a place for them in the government if they are ready to come, renouncing terrorism, renouncing violence, and being committed to a stable and prosperous Afghanistan. The American soldiers who were ambushed in Niger this month, which goes back to the lady we were just talking about, might have waited an hour to call for help from nearby French forces because they thought they could handle the situation. Now, that comment is from General Joseph Dunford, Jr., the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He added that investigators were still looking into what happened in the attack, which left 4 Americans dead and 2 others wounded. 4 Nigerian soldiers were also killed, 6 were wounded. The unit, which included about a dozen members of an Army Special Forces unit and 30 Nigerian soldiers, were on a routine reconnaissance mission. Americans are under strict orders to avoid missions likely to involve contact with the enemy. The judge who is going to determine Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl's sentence. I'd love to hear from the audience. What do you think about this Bo Bergdahl, and what do you think should be done with him? Don't forget, people were hurt, lives were lost out searching for him, and supposedly, I guess he finally confessed. Desertion and endangering his comrades was scheduled to start during testimony on Monday, but instead heard arguments about the defense's claim that President Trump's criticism of Bergdahl prevented him from being treated fairly. Which brings up Sunday morning, Senator McCain on one of the Sunday morning news shows talked about the Vietnam War and how some wealthy people used their money and doctors and whatnot to avoid having to go to Vietnam. Now, President Trump, he skated 4 times because he was in college, I guess, educational reasons, or 3 times. And then I guess the 4th time was because a doctor said he had a bone spur in his heel. And Senator McCain used that term, bone spur in a heel. He didn't call Trump's name, but it's pretty obvious who he was talking about. Because remember, Trump said that McCain really wasn't a hero. He did spend 5 years in the Hanoi Hilton, and supposedly he was given a chance to come home, but he would not leave his men behind. That's how the story goes. There's conflicting stories, but I don't know. Senator McCain. Anyway, so for Trump to be criticizing anybody in the military after having not served himself, I think he should probably tread lightly there. The judge, Army Colonel Jeffrey Nance, said he didn't have any doubt whatsoever that he could be impartial in the sentencing hearing, but he sternly questioned prosecutors about whether the comments by Trump, who called Bergdahl a dirty, rotten traitor on the campaign trail could erode the public's perception of the fairness of the military justice system. The hearing on Bergdahl's punishment is scheduled to resume Wednesday. Now, let me talk for a second about the public's perception of the fairness of the military justice system. I've always been very transparent with you guys, okay? I said I would on day one, and I've been transparent with you, gosh, what is it now? 12 years later, almost 13. I was in the military right after Vietnam. I didn't go to Nam. And I was young, and I was pretty stupid, and I've never claimed to be a choir boy. Although my life definitely took a different turn at 37, but as a young man, I was, well, I was a handful, so to speak. I got myself in a little bit of trouble in the military. And like in the civilian world, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be, yeah, well, whether you can afford it or not, they give you a military attorney. But I was pretty worried, so I also hired a civilian attorney. My military attorney came to me and said, okay, I got you a good plea bargain. I'm like, okay. 7 years at Leavenworth. 7. Leavenworth. I'm not a large man. I mean, I would have never survived 7 years there. I called my civilian attorney that I had hired, and he said, do not sign that document, whatever you do. Well, he says, if I don't sign it, that, you know, it could be worse. He goes, just don't sign it. So when I had my time in front of the judge, just like, you know, like this guy, it's called a court-martial in the military. Did I do something incredibly heinous? No, I didn't. I was just being young and stupid. But anyway, I turned down 7 years at Leavenworth in exchange for 60 days in the brig, which military, that's like county jail. The reason I didn't need to tell you that, but I wanted to make a point. The military justice system is far more it's a lot tougher than the civilian justice system. In the civilian world, you have all kinds of rights and this and that, but in the military, you are government property. Okay, you got a serial number stamped on your buttocks in boot camp, and that's with you for as long as you're serving an active duty. And so a lot of the rights that a civilian has in America in the judicial system, it's really different in the military. Really different. So if your youngster or grandchild is heading off to the military, just warn them to really be on their best behavior, because when they lock you up, man, they lock you up. They really do. And as I was on my way to serve my 60 days, which I was really pretty happy about, I got to work on the golf course. No, it wasn't club fed, but I mean, we were in a dormitory. It was just like it's just like being in the Navy, you know. Every morning I got up and my job was to get in the van and go to the golf course, and we horsed around on the golf cart all day and raked the sand traps, and yeah, life wasn't so bad. Sure as heck wasn't 7 years in Leavenworth. But prior to the 60 days, I had to spend 10 days at camp something in California till a slot opened up for me in Diego. And for those 10 days, I was in solitary confinement, like I had done something heinous. And if they woke you up at 5, you couldn't lay back down until 9. And they would come by like every 10 minutes and peep in the little window in the door. You had this stool that was like mounted to the wall, and a little table that was mounted to the wall, and the only book allowed in the cell was a Bible. How many times did I read it during those 10 days? I can't even remember. That type of treatment, the solitary confinement thing, I mean, I don't see how that is in any way going to rehabilitate someone. And I think with the military, it's like, we're not here to rehabilitate you, we're here to punish you. Whereas the civilian judicial system is supposedly more about rehabilitation. So, I don't know. It was a pretty scary thing for a young 20-something. And so this guy Bergdahl, you know, he deserted in a time of war. People were wounded or even maybe killed out looking for him. Trump, who evaded the draft, calls him a dirty, rotten traitor. I don't know. It's hard to feel sorry for the guy, but, I mean, we all have a certain element of human compassion, I think. And so, God be with him. Trump will probably not go to the heavily fortified, demilitarized zone between North and South Korea during his Asia trip next month. A symbolic visit has not been ruled out, but scheduling conflicts and a packed itinerary make it unlikely. The last 3 U.S. presidents visited the DMZ during South Korea trips, but the Trump administration sees no point. Probably the bone spur. We don't think it sends any message either way, the official told CNN. Tensions have risen in recent months, with North Korea conducting a series of missile and nuclear tests in defiance of international calls to curb its weapons program. Trump has warned the isolated communist regime that it would face fire and fury if it continued to threaten the U.S. and its allies. That guy's been quiet lately. You know, when he's rattling his saber, he doesn't concern me so much. But now that he's all quiet, I'm a little more concerned. Let me see if John's here. Hey John, if you're listening in, if you're ready to click in, please do. Attorney General Jeff Sessions said Monday the Trump administration is stepping up its efforts to crush the violent El Salvador-based MS-13 gang. Sessions said he was authorizing federal interagency task forces to go after gang leaders with law enforcement resources normally used to catch drug traffickers and money launderers. They all have one mission: to go after criminal gangs and drug traffickers at the highest level. Just like we took Al Capone off the streets with our tax laws, we'll use whatever laws we have to get MS-13 off the streets. That Jeff Sessions carries a big stick. Trump rejects limiting 401k deductions to pay for tax cuts. Okay, that's good. Looks like a serial killer in Tampa. Tampa authorities met with residents of the Seminole Heights neighborhood where 3 people have been fatally shot within a 1-mile radius in the last 10 days, raising fears of a serial killer. This is your community, and we're not going to let evil win this race. Investigators believe the killings are related, although they are still searching for a motive and a suspect. Early Monday, police started monitoring school bus stops in the area. All 3 victims were killed at or near public bus stops. The victims didn't know each other. Someone is terrorizing the neighborhood according to the police chief. Ken asks from the audience, Dwayne, what do you think is the minimum requirement in internet speed for futures trading? My son needs to know. Well, Ken, I'll tell you, I have done it with as little as 3 megs. Now, that was a while back, okay? Let me ask you this. What sort of speed does he have? What's available to him? Speedtest.net is typically pretty reliable. You know, I would think 10 up and 10 down would be, you would strive for that. You would want to have 10 up and 10 down. I'm supposed to have 150 down. We'll see. We'll see about that. Now downstairs, the family on their network, they have 300 down. For less than I pay for 150. But that's because mine's a business account. What's the difference? They get to charge you double because it's a business. So it looks like I'm pegging about 160 download. Okay. Now, upload, that's important to me because I'm pushing out a lot of information 24/7. So it looks like I'm supposed to have 20 up. Looks like I'm coming a little bit shy of that. And I don't know why Malwarebytes wants to block this site, but they did. Okay, so I had 159 down, 18 up. If your son can get 10 down, 10 up. Okay, Ken says 10 down is easy, but 10 up is unknown. Okay. Well, you know, he could probably get by with 5 up. Have him run this test. Does he have? If he does, have him run this test. If he can get 10 down, 5 up, I think he'll be fine. But make sure the computer itself has sufficient RAM processing power to drive the platform and charts. Speedtest.net. There's others, but this is just the one I always go to. You're very welcome, Ken. Okay, see, this S&P came up, good resistance, came back up, checked again, good resistance. So you can see that, I mean, that, you know, where you choose to get in, you want your stops tightened up. You don't have to exit. Let the market take you out. But once you get down to 64, get real tight with your stop. Because just as we're seeing this as a path down, the buyers that came in here are seeing it as a path up. Once, twice, 3 times. So just as there are sellers involved with pushing this down, okay, you got buyers lined up right here waiting to buy. Now if they miss this, this, and this, the chance of them coming in early is probably pretty good. So that's why I say start tightening that stop up at 64. It could just run right through it this time, and that's fine. You'll be okay. You just keep trailing. But if buyers step in early because they don't want to miss the next move back to 59 or 69, the market will take you out with whatever profits you've accumulated. We talked about an entry at 66. Okay. Well, why can't I just get in now? Well, you can. I mean, there's nothing to stop you. You could also bring up a 4-tick range chart like we use in the live training room every day and see if there is a if there's a trade set up there. Yes, see. Okay. 4-tick range, okay. See what we got there? Last thing we had was a bullish cross on the 4-tick range. Now, price has pulled back. I mean, we could get an up close here, and this thing could begin to move higher. It's possible. We certainly don't have a bearish cross yet. Let's see what the slingshot has to say about all that. I only look at really one thing. I know that's not part of your training, but okay. This is red and starting to hook down. This is already red and hooking down. For those reasons, I would not have been interested in that trade, nor would I be interested in this trade. Doesn't mean it can't move higher, but these are the early warning signals. Okay, let me show you a glimpse into my world. Wait a minute. Something's amiss. Michael changed this? No, he didn't. Oh. There we go. No. Come on. It just won't go away. I do this all the time. Well, actually, it's already done, usually. BBC. On. I just turned it off. Michael, did you change the code on me? We change this to a 2. Let's talk to Michael. Something's wonky with the code. Down here, I'm not a maroon kind of guy, so I go false. And then I like to see what's happening with okay, so pretend the BBC is not here, the green line. What do you see? You see the CFMA1 red and hooking down. You see the cycle indicator red and hooking down. Typically, when you see those two things like here and here, it tends to lead to lower prices. And when they're both blue, now sometimes they'll both turn blue on the same candle or red. but usually there's a couple candles difference. Okay, these both go blue. I like that. Okay, I'm comfortable just getting long, but the trade setup says cross, pull away, pull back, physically touch, up close, by the open of the next candle. Okay, plus 1 tick. That would put you in at 25.60, 25.66.50, which means you need to go to 68.50 to get paid your 2 points for the day. And it actually went to 69. This went to, this would have done it right here, 68.75. So I'm not saying get rid of all your indicators. I'm really mystified. I've turned this thing off a million times. I usually just do it during mentoring sessions, but typically anything other than 1. Michael did something to the code. Oh well. No big deal. You get the point. Blue and climbing, look for higher prices. Red and falling, look for lower prices. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Okay. Are there any other headlines that we really need to talk about? Facebook is changing the way the newsfeed works in 6 countries. Media organizations that don't pay to have their posts promoted will only see their content show up in users' Explore tab, not the main feed. Wow, that's a big deal. Snap reportedly overestimated the demand for its spectacles. Remember the other day we were laughing about the Snap spectacles? You know, they put the vending machine in the Amazon, and there was all these pop-up vending machines, and it was quite the craze there for a while. CEO Evan Spiegel previously said that sales had beaten expectations, but now the truth has come out that there may be hundreds of thousands of unsold units. And I think they were selling for like $1,500 a pair. They were just sunglasses with a little tiny camera built in. Okay. Tech evangelist Robert Scoble is leaving his virtual reality startup Transformation Group following a number of sexual assault allegations. So let me ask you a question. When David Letterman, when it was brought to light that he had been, you know, having relations with a whole lot of women at NBC or wherever it was he worked, everybody said, well, okay. Now this other guy, Weinstein, I don't really know the story on Weinstein, but everyone in the media is calling him a monster. So if somebody wants to type into the chat box, bring me up to speed, that's fine. I guess I could Google it, but I know that they're treating this very much differently than they did the Letterman thing, who was inducted into the Mark Twain Humor Hall of Fame yesterday. Amazon is shutting down its 5-year-old Amazon Wine division. The dedicated services purpose will now be fulfilled by Amazon Prime, Amazon Fresh, and Whole Foods, which will keep selling a variety of wines at different price points. Do you know that the average 80% of all bottles of wine sold in America are $5 or less? 80%. That's a fact. I got it from Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary, who has his own wine label. Now, the price of wine may go up because of all these wildfires in California. They're not only burning up the vineyards, but the pot fields in Humboldt County. So new lines of code inside the Google search app suggested that the company is working on a touch screen enabled Amazon Echo Show-like device. The tabletop, previously codenamed Manhattan, is now referred to inside Google's code as Quartz. Snap has updated the Snapchat app on iOS. The new version allows users to share external links inside the chat and also temporarily disable location sharing for SnapMap without having to turn it off completely. Yes, we were starved for headlines today. When there's not much going on, I guess that's a good thing, right? The firm behind the Trump-Russia dossier is attempting to shield their financial records. Uh-oh. Somebody got paid. Oh, here's more on the Snap spectacles. They really made a spectacle of themselves with this. Okay, just because you might have never seen them before. This is what people were flying into the Amazon jungle to buy from a vending machine for $1,500. Yep. Some people just got too much money and too much time on their hands. Snap's much hyped spectacles are by commercial standards a total flop. Besides selling only 150,000 pairs in the past year, Snap's first foray into making hardware failed to excite customers past their initial purchase. Well, the whole thing about Snap was you take selfies. You can't take a selfie with a pair of glasses unless you're standing in front of a mirror. Snap's internal data showed that well under half of spectacle owners continued to use the camera-equipped sunglasses after just 4 weeks. A person familiar with the data called the retention rate shockingly low and added that a sizable percentage of owners would stop using the glasses after just 1 week. A Snap representative declined to comment on the previously unreported data. The representative instead said that Snap had worked to improve how the glasses work through software updates over the past year and is pleased that 73% of reviews for spectacles on Amazon give the product a 5-star rating. Well, like that ain't hard to rig. Snap introduced spectacles, which sell for $130. No, when they first came out, they were much more than that, in 3 colors, in September 2016 through yellow vending machines that would appear unannounced in different parts of the U.S. A clever marketing trick that garnered long lines initially. And then in February, they started selling them online. I guess that's when the price went down. CEO Spiegel said Snap sold a total of 150,000 units, beating our hope of selling 100,000. We're just sort of beginning to dabble in hardware. And that division just laid off a dozen employees. Snap said in an August regulatory filing with the SEC that it had $29 million in hardware inventory commitments. But the company has generated just under $20 million in revenue from spectacles to date. So there you have it. That's all the news that is news. Did John make it? There he is. Hey, John, welcome to the show. Sorry to leave you waiting there. I should probably jingle you on the phone real quick and let you know that. Hey, John. I hear you typing. Okay, John. I'm going to jingle your phone here in just, give me 1 second. John, are you there? John, are you there? Hey, John. John, we can hear you. Hello. Hello, John. Yeah, just pop your headset on.
My little baby speaker is down on the floor.
Okay, he's having some technical difficulties. Okay, well, we'll just shuffle on. We will attempt to shuffle on. Okay. One last little thing to share, and then we'll go over the trade alerts and go to the good word for the day. Over the past few years, adoption of cryptocurrency has grown exponentially, primarily because of its attractiveness to people looking to use alternative money. Because all cryptocurrencies are decentralized, anonymous, and electronic, they've been called the currency of the future. Let's take a look at a few of the areas where cryptocurrency is having an impact on the world. Now, I wrote a piece yesterday, or researched a piece that will be part of the new website about how this can change life for the poorest of the poor. Did you know that a large percentage of people in the world do not have a bank account for a variety of reasons? But cryptocurrency is becoming a larger part of our everyday lives. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency and remains the most prominent. Now, how does Bitcoin differ from the CT Global Coin? Well, it wasn't first, and it's not the most prominent. That's really the only difference, okay? Now, because of its growing popularity, it's now being used every day for ordinary transactions. Well-known businesses such as Etsy and Subway accept Bitcoins as payment. The BitPay Visa debit card allows you to transform your Bitcoins into conventional money within minutes and use the card anywhere that accepts Visa. That will be one of the very first things we attack as soon as we begin trading. Another platform, Chain Trade, is using blockchain to revolutionize the trade of food and raw materials. This financial sector represents more than $2 trillion annually. It's no surprise then that there have been movements to legitimize cryptocurrencies as real forms of payment in countries like Japan and Russia. Japan has already accepted Bitcoin as legal currency with numerous major retailers. Russia is seeking to recognize cryptocurrencies as legal financial instruments, which will allow them to deal with the problem of money laundering. In fact, Russia is supposedly going to come out with the Moscow coin. Major investors are also starting to consider cryptocurrencies as an investment. Ron Quaranta, chairman of the Wall Street Blockchain Alliance, explains Bitcoin and Ether and all these cryptocurrencies are representing a different type of asset class, a different type of tradable commodity. Investment managers are our fastest growing demographic. Keep in mind, the CT Global Coin is built on the Ethereum blockchain, not the Bitcoin blockchain. There is a difference, and that will be explained on the website. From its inception, cryptocurrency has been a challenge to traditional banking. According to experts at Bloomberg, Bitcoin, the largest and best known digital currency, and its peers pose a threat to the established money system by effectively circumventing it. No wonder Jamie Dimon was so upset. Why do the new currencies pose a threat? Because of their anonymous nature and ability to work outside of the system, relying on technology instead of the authority of the state that banks use. Well, now we understand, Jamie. Despite the gulf between traditional banking and the use of online digital currencies, many financial institutions have opted to use cryptocurrency. Because banks have to be able to keep money and transaction records safe and secure without slowing down the verification process, several major banks have decided to partner on their own cryptocurrency. This allows them to clear and settle transactions using a blockchain, the ledger technology originally created for cryptocurrencies. Financial institutions getting in the game include many of the big players: Barclays, Credit Suisse, Canadian Imperial, HSBC, State Street, UBS, and the Bank of New York, Mellon. Cryptocurrency and IoT will work together. IoT, in case you don't know, it's the Internet of Things. That's when your light bulb talks to your refrigerator and tells the stereo to come on, that kind of thing. The Internet of Things is rapidly becoming a reality, and a really nice lady has a podcast called The Internet of Things. Oh, which, by the way, before I forget, remember the other day I showed you, oh, let me show it to you again. If you didn't see it, it's just too good to miss. What have I brought up here? Man, it may be time to replace the mothership. Or I have too many plugins in my browser. Maybe that's the problem. This is ridiculous. Okay. Some of you may have met my father, GoDaddy. No. Anywho, I showed you last week or the week before that cryptoworld.com was up for sale for 30 grand. I wonder if they sold it. Cryptocurrency podcast. I thought, you know, all of these podcasts together on one page so that a person can find them, listen to them, subscribe to them, and enjoy them. So I said, wouldn't it be funny, ha ha ha, if I could get Crypto World Radio and aggregate all of these cryptocurrency podcasts on one page. But alas, it is taken by us. CT Global Media now owns CFRN and Christian Trader and all the, we have quite a, but I took a $30,000 site and picked it up for $8. I couldn't resist. So that site is being built as we speak. That one will be pretty easy because the content's already there. I'm just creating a directory. But life's fun when you're having fun, I guess. So John, are you going to make it on? I guess not. He actually logged out. Well, that's too bad. All right, well, we'll march on. We'll get through these trade alerts and see what happened. I already showed you the email. So let's just break it down. The S&P never triggered. The Dow gave up 200 points. See, that in itself is just odd. That's not something that typically would happen. So if we've looked at the ES and we've looked at the Dow, the Dow's still climbing. It's sort of grinding to a halt there. What price are we at? Okay, see, we got a zone right there. 405. Now again, I typically don't do this until Thursday for the general audience, but partners do get them Monday mornings, 6:15 a.m. Okay. Now, above that, we've only got one zone left, and that's way up at 595. But with the way this market's running, I suppose it could happen. 23,595/600. We'll just stick that there for now. Now below us we have 23,220. That's pretty cute. That's pretty cute, huh? Yeah. $225. Now this happened yesterday at 3:30 in the afternoon. Well, $4:30. Okay. But partners had this number Monday morning, yesterday, at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. This really isn't a hot knife through butter because you got two candles right on the line. But if it was an hourly candle, what if it was an hourly candle? Nope, it still didn't slice through. Leg, retrace. It's that same symbol I've been drawing for years. You break through the zone. Price comes back to test the zone to make sure it's going to be good support, or if it's in reverse, good resistance. And if it passes the test, up you go to the zone overhead. Now you see this candle, how it ran up, touched the zone, and then whoosh, closed way back below. That's rejection. But because of what happened on the following candles, you know, yes, that one candle got rejected, but the market as a whole continued higher. So whether the zones are far apart or close together, you break it, you come back and test it, and then you keep going. Okay, you go through those charts that you saw anywhere on our blog, on our website, on our old website, all the ones that Google has on their images page, and man, you'll just see this over and over and over. If all you did was wait for this, like I said, some partners just trade the zones. Okay, they might have took their money here, or they might have been patient and waited for this, and then once it started up again, boom. And if they also get the alerts, they look over and go, ah. And so this is a 200-point move. At $5 a point, that is $1,000. So now this isn't just the Dow. This is every market. I know that people tell you that, you know, you got to trade every market differently. They have different personalities and all these kinds of things. And I say those are people that want to sell you another course. Well, let me teach you how to trade the S&P, and then I'll teach you how to trade gold, and then I'll teach you how to trade crude, and so forth. You can go that route if you want, but you don't have to. Okay? As long as you have an auction style market with buyers on the bid, sellers on the ask, and price channeling back and forth, the behavior is the same. I mean, it just is. So I hope you'll see that. Let's go to gold. Or not. You know, it told me earlier that I had ran out of... I gotta talk to Bert. It said I'd ran out of, you know, stuff. Let's see if we can make this work. Or do I have another gold chart here? Nope. You can only have 10 open at a time, but I had special permission for more. You know, because I'm like the radio guy. Alright, let's get rid of these. We don't have to get rid of them. Look at that beauty. Bullish cross. This is gold we're on now. 4-tick range. Like we use in the training room. Leg. Get a retrace. And a leg. Get a retrace. Then a leg. Now, remember I said if it was red and falling overhead, I probably wouldn't take the long. But if it was blue and climbing overhead, I would take the long. And look at which one of these two produced. Granted, down here on the entry candle, this was red, but it wasn't hooked down and falling, and it was up top where some would call overbought, but I don't. But most important to me is it's above the 50-yard line. See, once it crosses that 50-yard line, that's when it really gets up and goes. So if you entered this candle, it opened at 1277.4, so you would enter at 1277.5. You need 1278.5 to get your goal for the day, and it hit 1278.8. So right there, points for the day, just by being patient. Okay. Now here's an example of a short, red and falling. Okay, touch the BBC, down, close, but I would be selling into blue. I'd probably pass. We come back, we touch, we close, we open. Now everything's red and falling, and I'm in for the win. This candle, minus 1 tick, would be, the open was 76.90, so you'd get in at 76.80. 76.80, and it took you down to 74.80. So that's a $200 per contract move. And you say, but how do you know to get out there? Well, you don't. Okay. Although, after a nice little decline, this is your first green candle. This is when you actually know to get out. The step line's crossing the MA1, and you're in a short trade, and you get a green candle on the back side of the MA1 above the step line. So your exit would be the close of this candle, 1275.50, 1275.50, yeah. So, I hope I didn't confuse anybody with all that. Come to a partners meeting, or however you do that. Oh, it looks like I had multiple sets of the indicators loaded. That's why I couldn't get that thing to turn on. See, there you go. That's what I was trying to do earlier, but I had the indicators loaded like 3 times. Alright. Alright, so now we're going to put this on 30 minutes. Pretty obvious where support for gold is, right? Oh gosh, I don't have the thing over here. don't mess up your platform, because anybody that doesn't know how to do this, now's the time to learn. Configure. Wow. Drawing tools. You only want the image, otherwise it'll take up too much space. Rectangle, grab it. If you have a working computer, you grab it and you drag it. There you go. What? I give up. No, I don't. Never give up. Okay. So you just drag them over, drag them over. Not even sure why you need to hit the apply, but okay, so now I have a rectangle in my drawing tools so that I can highlight where the obvious support is for gold right now. There's support. There's resistance. And what's in between? If I could, I would play the opening of Pink Floyd's song Money from the Brick in the Wall album. I don't remember. Anyway. Alright. Gold, gold, gold. Okay, we had a zone at 84.85 this week. And there's 85. I should probably do one of those GoFundMe things to get a new computer. I don't think it's a hardware issue, honestly. Okay, we'll try that again. There's 84.85 weekly zone. Below that, 75.76. Now, the important thing about that is our partners had those numbers yesterday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And if you don't see the importance of that, we should probably do a mentoring session. Okay, price went from zone consolidation to the zone consolidation back to the zone. Now from 76 to 84, that's $800 per contract on the way up and $800 per contract on the way down. So how did we know this would be support and resistance before the week even started? Well, someday we're going to teach that in an arena. The tickets will be gold-plated. Alright, enough fooling around. The Concierge Trade Alert last night recommended buying 1286, no cigar. It also recommended selling 1282. That's a cigar, but smoking is not good for you. I quit. using Chantix quite some time ago. Quite a few years ago. Long time ago. Okay, so the alerts went out at 2030. 2030. Okay, so I'm going to put a candle, a line there. Okay, now check this out. Just enough to trigger. Where's your stop going to be? Well, if you're going to take that trade based on the Concierge Trade Alerts and the weekly trading zones, you got to be above the most recent swing high, and you got to be just above that weekly zone. Okay, that might be more risk than some people. We recommend that maximum risk on a Concierge Trade Alert $300. There are special circumstances where you can see that here if you put your stop at 86, okay, and you're selling 82, that's a $400 stop loss, not $300. Okay, but from 82 to 76, which is your reasonable profit target, from 82 to 76, $600. So then, okay, remember, you can't see this yet. The question becomes, am I willing to risk $400 for a potential return of $600? The only rule of thumb I can give you there is don't ever accept less than a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay? If it was risk 400 to make 800, potentially, because while the risk is known, okay, that's established, that's carved in stone. When people talk about risk-reward ratio, they act as if the reward side is also known, but it's not. It's an unknown factor. But I think almost anyone would say, yeah, I'll risk 400 to, shot a high probability shot at 8. But now it's 4 to 6. Risk 4, potential of 6. It actually went 700. All right, but that's how it lays out. So and when you have the Concierge Trade Alert and the weekly trading zones to help guide you, it makes the decision sometimes simpler. Nothing about trading is ever easy, but it can be simple. Let's see, questions. Maria says, what is the next trading range? And Mike asked, does gold have a zone below 74? And to both of you, Maria, are you referring to gold as well? Yes, Mike, there is a zone below, and it is 1269/1270. It was for the Dow, Maria. Okay, I'll go back and show you on the Dow. No problem. There's 1270. And 1269. And if we break out up top, it's going to be 92, 93. keep in mind, for all of this to work, there's got to be volatility. There's got to be movement. And we've been blessed to have that the last few days. Okay, so that's gold. Now let me pop back over to the Dow for Maria. Okay, the next zone overhead is 23,595/600. And this is the highest weekly zone for the Dow. $595/600. Now, on the off chance it should all come crashing down, of course we have this zone here at 220/225. Below that is 23,170/75. Okay. And then below that, I won't put it up right now, but it would be 23020. 230.20/230.25. Yeah, Alan, I think I already did them. Okay, the ES, we've got 76.77, and then 69.70, and then 60.61. See what happened here, guys? See this? Remember how it totally looked like the market was heading lower? And I said, we want to see it at least go to 66, maybe, you know, because it could just spend some time bumping its head up here. And so we were talking about a trade that went from 66 to 60. Well, we originally said 63, and then I said 64. I go, it's a 3-point trade, and then I go, well, actually, the safer trade, or the higher probability, would be a 2-point trade from 66 to 64. Okay? Remember, this was a red candle, 30-minute candle, and it was red, and it looked like it was, the bottom was ready to fall out. Make the market prove it. Now, I'll show you what something I was looking at. Oh, stop with the little wheel going around. You see this low and that low that I connected those two lows right there, those two 30-minute candles. You see what I was looking for? I wanted the market to prove to me that the buying support here had given away. Because the last time the market tried to move down, it got pushed back up. So I want to see if it could overcome. And that could be one guy sitting out there with a big account, propping that thing up. Not really, but now it looks like it hit the zone, bumped its head up on the ceiling. Sure looks like it wants to come down again. It may and it may not. Okay? If it does, if it cracks 66, I really think we have I have a high probability of hitting 64. But let's say we had sold 67 and used a 2-point stop of 69, we'd be stopped out to the tick. So Alan, the only other important zone on the S&P, I guess, would be the next one below 60.61, and that's 45.49. That's way down there. I'm sorry, 48.49. And should we get down into those areas, I will put them on the chart. Unless something unusual happens, I mean, it's possible we could ping back and forth for days in this area. It's an 8-point range, and we've had a lot of 8-point range days of late. Sorry to say. You're welcome, Alan. Maria, when you say you have 23.7 for the cash market on the Dow, I'm not sure. Are you saying that's your highest weekly trading zone for the cash market? I'm trying to follow you here. This is our highest weekly trading zone for the futures, 595/600. For the INDU. Okay. Yeah, this is the YM, the Emini Futures, the Dow YM. So, I hope that helped you. Okay. Soybeans, November beans. It seems like we should be rolling out of those. What's volume like? Now I know I've showed you guys this before, but I'll show you again in case you weren't here that day. Go to barchart.com. where you can read a lot of our articles and whatnot. I should probably go back and pick up these just so somebody else doesn't, I guess. Come on, give me some barchart.com, please. Connecting. Yeah, you know, we just did the speed test and I got 170 megs down. So this is a browser issue or some kind of hardware issue. It's not the internet. barchart.com/futures, and we're going to select the commodity. We're going to select soybeans, and it's going to show us the most active contract. Go to volume, and November is still, it's got double the volume of January. Okay, so November beans it is. Did John wander back in? Nope, he's got a problem. Okay, soybeans last night, the alert said to consider selling 978. And we had a low of 72.75, so we'll just call it 73. So that's 5 points. $5 times $50 a point. Okay. That's the story on beans. Crude oil. GCLZ. I'm pretty sure these are last week's zones. Yep. Yes, they are. This week, we have a zone at 5250 / 55. Well, what do you know? And that's where we are. And that was also, I believe, the final target on today's daily double, was that zone. 5250. Okay. Zone below that's 6570. Okay. Now that happened this morning at 5:30 a.m. Zones went out yesterday at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Now, zones are an area. I always try to remind you of that. So, as we attempt to go from zone to zone, and this from 70 to 50, that's an $800 per contract move, zone to zone. $800 per contract. We fell shy by a few ticks. On the move down, we fell shy by more than 2 ticks, that's for sure. But then in 1 hour, we ran all the way back up. So this low was 51.78, call it 51.80. So that's a $700 move right there. Okay. All right. And below that, 65.70, 51. $105 51. Okay, so last night the alert said crude oil, consider buying 52.05. Well, what time did these go out? 2030. 2030. So that guy right there. Okay, consider buying 52.05 and the sell side of that was 51.55, which did not. Look at the low of that candle. 51.55, right on the nose. Alerts went out here. It came down. It touched our trigger. 51.55. did an about face, took off. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So if you missed it here, you got another shot here. And from 52.05, that's $450 per contract in that hour. That's what the market made available. Now, we never get out at the swing high or swing low because we trail our stop. Although some people will use zones as a target, and they'll just set a hard target there, which is fine. You can do that. But what if it races through it? What if it's the hot knife through butter? You know, it's okay to, you could have a hard target, you know, maybe up here. I don't know. But you could also trail with an order and let the market take you out. Because let's face it, we don't know what the market's going to do. It looks like it's going to get into this zone and consolidate a little bit to me. But what's it going to do beyond that? I don't know. I'm not a prophet. Never claimed to be. And since God created us in such a way that we cannot know the unknown, then let us base our decisions on that which we do know. Probably not the same adrenaline rush, but that's not what we're here for. Now, one thing that could help you know where price might go if it travels up through the zone. Go from the swing low to the swing high to the swing low. And if it takes out this zone, that would be a 100% Fibonacci extension. In other words, this leg goes exactly the distance this leg went. And then the next stop would be up there. And up there. Now, what's the next zone overhead? 52, 55, 53.05 is the next zone. 53.05/10. I really hope you guys will since you're getting this information early this week, those of you that aren't subscribers, I hope you'll put it to good use. Have you heard that hipster song with the whistling? Don't listen to it, because once it gets in your head, you'll never get it out. There's a commercial on TV for Google, and they asked that question. They asked Google, hey, have you heard that hipster song with the whistling? And Google spits out the video. I hadn't listened to it, and now I can't stop hearing it in my head. Yeah, it hurts my ears too. It's such a stupid song. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's not stupid. I don't know what it is. All right, and then after 53, the highest weekly zone on crude is 54.15/54.20, which, based on crude inventories tomorrow, you know, it's a possibility. Okay. And remember, this came down and hit right on the trigger. So if you were set up to sell 51.55 on a stop, you might have got triggered in. I find it amazing that it came down. Well, I don't know why I find any of it amazing anymore. I've been watching it for how many years? Okie doke. What's left? The Russell? I know those are last week's zones. But look how well the Russells behaved inside of last week's zones. I find that mildly fascinating. The Russell last night, we said to consider buying 1504. Russell pays $50 a point. Used to pay $100. So you had a 2-point drawdown. You know, however, okay, on this first move up, you know, your stop needed to be like way down here. But important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And so that picture drastically changes on the, you know, second or third time up. Your stop only needs to be here. And you have the same upside potential either way. In fact, the trades with the least amount of risk typically have the greatest profit potential. Okay, so from 1504 to the zone at 06, well, that's last week's zone. This week's zone's at 08. So if you're shooting for the zone, which this week is 1508/09. So if that's your reasonable expectation for a profit target from 04 to 08, that's 4 points, $50 a point, $200. What's your risk? Let's say you put this all the way down at 1. 1501, 04, so that's, you got a $150 risk with the potential for $200 profit. I'm not incredibly excited about that, but at least you are better than 1 to 1. Whatever you do, don't ever risk more than you hope to gain, because that's bad math, bad science. And there's a lot of websites out there that will try to sell you a system that does that. You know, risk 10 points on the S&P to make 3. That kind of thing. It's just bad math, and it'll definitely come back to haunt you. On the NQ, we said to consider buying 60.75, and then something really bad happened. Okay. How do I do this? Okay, let's try this. Alright, that's 60.75. The alerts came out at 20.30. So that candle right there. And so an hour later, it triggered and went absolutely nowhere. Then it triggered again and didn't go very far. Then it took this huge dive. And see, this your stop's got to be way down here at $20 a point. Yeah. This is just a bunch of walk away. See, from 63 to, was it 74? 75. That's 12. That's $240 of risk. So I guess it was doable, but did not. No happy ending there. Okay. Bonds. Man, bonds are just, interest rates are about to go sky high. Bonds. ZBZ7. Consider selling 151.23. Okay. All right. On the first move down, it got to 151.15. So that's 8 points at 31.25 per tick. 8 ticks, 31.25 per tick. Stop's got to be here. And on the second move, your stop's got to be there. If you have a special knack for trading bonds, it feels like a natural, you love it, go for it. Otherwise, I recommend that you find something else to trade. Plenty of people trade bonds. People have made their career trading bonds. But for anyone who's learning how to trade or learning how to be consistently profitable as a trader, I think you can find markets that are easier to address than bonds. Okay? Why do I include them then? Because some of our people trade bonds. So, all right, we did the S&P, the Dow, we did the gold, we did the beans, we did the crude, the Russell, we did the NASDAQ, bonds. Shoot, we're done. Look at there. Look there. Now, how tempting was it to just sell the market? Right? Wasn't it? Remember? But remember, in fact, we better go look. We're going to go look at this again. This looked so tempting to short. But we said we got to take out this low here. And then at 66, we can trade it down to 64, maybe even to 63. But we didn't want to jump in until the market proved that's the direction it wanted to go. And it sure looked like that's the direction it wanted to go. But remember our 4-tick range chart? It did not confirm a short trade. So let's go look at that again. Well, I don't need all. I got too many. How many crude charts does a man need? I'll get rid of one of those. We'll sacrifice this one. Okay, so we go ES. Okay, 4-tick range. Now, that's not a 4-tick chart. It's a range chart, and what that means is every candle is exactly 4 ticks tall. And there's a big reason for it, huge reason. And if you come to the training room in the morning, I'll tell you the reason. Okay, as I recollect, we were pulling back here. And while I wasn't ready to go short off that 30-minute chart until that low was taken out, I also wasn't ready to go long over here because we would have been buying into a red and falling MA1. Would that have cost me a good trade? Yes. Whatever your high probability setup is, you're going to miss some. And some are going to get stomped out. Now, is it a hard and fast rule that you don't buy into that? No. That's just a personal preference. I would prefer to wait until it's all blue. That's all. Just a personal preference. And some people say, yeah, but when it pulls back, doesn't that always change the color? Not always. Especially if it's right after a cross. This one it did. So does it take patience to wait for those? Yep. But that means you never have to get stopped out, right? Nope. There is no such thing that means that. That doesn't exist. So that would be our lesson of the day. On the S&P 30-minute chart, we had a potential short trade setting up. And you know what? It's hitting this zone. I mean, that trade could still come to pass. Kind of looks like it's wanting to go the other way now, but you see, it kind of looked like it wanted to go down, didn't it? Now it kind of looks like it wants to go up. So you got to decide, okay, where's my proof? I'll tell you where my proof is here to go long. At 25.72, I'll go long with a target of 76. I'll risk 2 points for a shot at making 4. Down here, I'll risk 2 points for a shot at making 2. Which is better? Well, obviously, risking 2 to possibly, see, you know you're going to risk 2, but you're hoping to make 4. It's more than hope. It's a reasonable expectation. Why is it a reasonable expectation? Well, you got a weekly zone right there, and the last time price tried to run up, it could not get above 77. There was not enough buying support to push it above 77. Sellers saw that weakness and slammed it. Buyers came in right here, 2 ticks above the zone, ran it up. Sellers knocked it down. The buyers are pretty serious. So, I mean, we could wind the session up in this zone. I can't say for sure, but it's a possibility. Good word for the daytime. Pull up December silver. What do you think? Okay, Jim, I'll do that. GCZ? No. Somebody give me the symbol for silver. I thought it was GCI. Yeah, but it's not. You got the symbol, Jim? Nope. Okay. All right, well, we'll pull it up another day, I guess. Man, I was positive. Well, maybe it's GS. Yeah, how about that? Silver. So, what did you say? December? Okay. Okay. And we'll go to a daily chart. Get rid of all drawing objects. There we go. Well, when it's red and falling, you get lower prices. When it's blue and climbing, you get higher prices. There's a bullish cross, bearish cross. Now we had a bullish cross here on the daily, but price never pulled away from the BBC. So it looks like this thing is going to hook over, and we're going to end up with a bearish cross, which could lead to some sideways choppiness. if we get the bearish cross, we got to take out these two lows. You know, that's an area more than an exact point, but you get the idea. We got to get below that, and then we have an open opportunity right there. I'd much rather see us trade higher. Scrunch this up a bit. If somehow that bullish cross can hold, see, this is blue and starting to head up. Cycle's in the right place. We bounced off the 50% retracement. Now, again, if that bullish cross can hold, and it looks pretty weak at the moment, these are potential targets overhead. Now, this 61.8% or the 62% fib extension, look at the horizontal line on my cursor. Hits that top, and that top, and that top. So what do we have there? Good resistance until proven otherwise. So if this bullish cross turns into something and we actually get a move higher, I would be looking at the 1850 to 1855 range. If, on the other hand, it fails and we take out this low, then I would be interested in selling. Although I'm long-term bullish on gold and silver, I would look to sell 1580 down to about 1480. So about a $1 move. So off the top of my head, hope that helps. Those are my thoughts. Now, if you're talking intraday, yeah, intraday is definitely bearish. Bearish cross. Price pulls back to the BBC. And we get a bullish cross, or we get a continuation. The divergence here is definitely bearish. The MA1 is blue and hooking up. So if we touch the BBC, this is on a 30-minute. We'll drill down even more. We'll go to the 4-tick range. Boy, there's some nice opportunities there today. On the 4-tick range, it looks like we're gonna get a bullish cross, but then we need a pull away and a pull back and an up close. But we always look to the higher time frame for guidance, and even though bearish cross sell, we know that price is trying to revert to the mean. It's trying to go back to the BBC. Okay, and so even though the higher time frame says we want to be short, we wanted to be short from up here, because now it's pulling back to the BBC. If it stalls and gives us a down close, then we look for a continuation of the move and we sell it. And we use this to tell us where to enter to the tick, whether it's long or short. So, hope that helped you. Okay. Good word for the day. And then I got to fly. I guess I closed my notes. Oh, no, I didn't. There it is. Today we talk about peace, praying for peace. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep him in perfect peace." Here is a prayer for peace. Lord, your word says, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. Your word says the Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Psalm 29:11. All the gold and silver in the world will do you no good if you have no peace. Your word says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. John 14:27. The word says, the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. I don't know about you, but today I need this peace which transcends understanding to settle my nerves, calm my mind. Instead of thinking about my fears and worries, God, I pray that you would help me to focus on your goodness, your faithfulness, your healing power, your overflowing resources, and your forgiving heart. Take up residence within me and fill me with your peace. Show me what's robbing me of it. I really want to know, so that I can be specific in what I need to confess, what I need to commit to, and what I need to change. I open myself to you now. Teach me the secret of lasting peace. I thank you now for whatever it will take to help me receive the peace you have so generously offered to me. Your word says in Colossians 3:15, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Today I want to be ruled by your peace, not my fears, not my worries, not the news. So God, I give all my concerns to you, trusting you to work them out for my good and your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And that's it, guys. That is our good word for the day. And that is our show for today, this 24th day of October 2017. Post-birthday show. That's right. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and pray safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.